It seems like it was yesterday that the club season resumed after the World Cup break in winter. Now we only have 2 months of club football left. Summer is approaching, and so is the summer transfer window, which means there's going to be more and more rumors concerning players changing clubs. This video is going to be about some well-known players who are about to become free agents, as well as their possible options. But first, we would like to give your football knowledge a small test. What club has the most FA Cup titles? Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester United? Please leave your answers in the comments. And now, let's get into it. Juan Cuadrado. About 10 years ago, Juan Cuadrado was among the brightest wingers in Europe. His performance at Fiorentina was noticed by Chelsea as the Blues signed the Colombian for €31 million. He found no luck in the Premier League, though it didn't take him long to find a club to help him grow as a player, as only 6 months later, Cuadrado moved to Juventus. It's going to be 8 years since he joined Juve this summer, but it's also going to be Juan's last season at the club. He's 34 years old, and his prime days are long gone. So it looks like Cuadrado, along with Alexandra, won't be playing for Juventus next season. However, should we consider the club's situation, these two may still sign new contracts, short-term and with lower salaries. Loris Karius. It might be hard to believe, but Karius is still considered a Liverpool player, even though his last game for the club was that very Champions League final against Real Madrid in 2018. Since then, Loris has been playing on loan for different clubs, going to the gym and enjoying life. And even played a cup final against Manchester United, where it didn't look that bad. As for now, Newcastle show no signs of desire to sign Karius on a permanent basis. It looks like he will be looking for a club this summer. But after all, he's only 29 years old, and his playing career is far from over. Daichi Kamada. The name of Daichi Kamada is not yet well known outside of Germany, but the Eintracht midfielder, worth 30 million as per Transfermarkt, has already made many big clubs watch him closely. The 26-year-old Japanese would most likely change clubs as a free agent once his contract is over. However, Benjamin List, the Nobel Prize laureate in chemistry, who is also a big fan of Eintracht, said he would give his medal to Kamada so that he stays at the club. But to be honest, it's not likely that it is going to change something, as despite the interest from Barcelona as well as some Premier League clubs, Kamada is reported to have his eyes set on joining Borussia Dortmund. Neto. Back in the days, Neto was a first-choice goalkeeper at Valencia, but it all changed in summer 2019 as Barcelona and Valencia decided to swap keepers, and Neto went to Barca in exchange for Jasper Cillessen. That was most likely just a way to bend the financial fair play rules, but that is a long story. The thing is that Neto only made 12 appearances for Barca in 3 years. He moved to Bournemouth last summer, but things aren't going too well for the Brazilian there, as the team has conceded 54 goals in 27 games, which is the worst result in the league, and are currently going 19th. So it looks like the goalkeeper will make a decision to leave or stay at the club based on whether the cherries go down or not. Friends, we would like to ask for your support. Please help us reach the 5,000 subscribers mark. For that, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell button so as not to miss all the upcoming videos on our channel. Thank you, and now we go on. Hector Bellerin. And now to another Barca player, Hector Bellerin, who joined the club in summer 2022 as a rotational right-back option. But Xavi didn't seem to be impressed with Bellerin at all, so the ex-Arsenal defender had only made 7 appearances for the club, 2 of which in Copa del Rey before he was loaned down to Sporting. The Spaniard does look better in Portugal now, but it is still a big question if Barca would like to extend his contract once he returns. Samir Handanovic. Yet another goalkeeper in our list. Samir Handanovic is turning 39 in summer, and even though it's not a big problem by itself, as after all he's a Serie A player, Samir is no longer a world-class goalkeeper. The Slovenian's footwork has never been among his strengths, but he used to make up for it with his reflexes, which are no longer that sharp. so Andre Onana has already become a first-choice option in the goal, while Handanovic is starting to think about hanging up his boots. He may or may not retire this summer, but it is very unlikely that we will ever see him playing for a top club again. Youri Tielemans. Now to a different story. Though Youri Tielemans is not among the world's greatest, he is a key midfielder for Leicester, worth 40 million euros as per Transfermarkt. So how come it is possible that a 25-year-old midfielder of such quality is going to become a free agent this summer? The answer is, the Belgian has simply had enough of Leicester and would like to change clubs. His destination was believed to be Arsenal, but the Gunners have already signed Jorginho, which might mean that Tielemans will have to settle for another club. But even so, looking for a new team won't be a problem for such a talented player. Marcus Thuram. The same story is about to happen to the French legendary defender's son, Marcus Thuram. The Frenchman has been among the Borussia leaders for a couple of seasons, and even though he may not necessarily reach his father's level, he is only 25 years old and still has plenty of time to prove himself. And Marcus knows that he has to make the most of this time, and that is why he refused to sign another contract with Borussia Mönchengladbach. He is about to move to Bayern as a free agent. However, his possible move has a lot to do with Harry Kane joining or not joining Bayern, because if the Englishman doesn't come to Munich, Bayern will turn to Thuram. Mats Hummels. The 34-year-old legendary defender is nowhere near as solid as he once was, as even his football intelligence may not always make up for his lack of pace. For that reason, it seems Hansi Flick decided not to include Mats in his World Cup squad. The defender's contract is expiring this summer, and Borussia are yet to make a decision. However, it looks like they will offer the player a new one in the end, but with a lower salary, as Mats Hummels, who is now the second best Borussia player in terms of appearances, may still be of use for Borussia as a rotational player and a dressing room leader. At the same time, it is rumored that Hummels may even consider retirement if he doesn't get a new contract with the BVB. Adrien Rabiot. It looks as if Juventus is about to be rebuilt this summer, as the board is planning to release many of the players who are in their final year of contract, so that the club has more funds available on the salary budget. One of those players is Rabiot, even though he's been good this season both in Qatar and for the World Club, as his recent brace brought Juventus the much-needed 3 points. It seems like the one to determine Rabiot's fate will be his mother, who is a natural-born negotiator, so this is going to be a long and fascinating story. İlkay Gündoğan. Though it was Gündoğan whose 2 goals won the title for Manchester City last season, his time at the club is running out, as there's no sign of a new contract for him. At the same time, there are rumors of Gündoğan's negotiations with Barcelona, so the midfielder has all the chances to move to Nou Camp this summer. This is going to be a very decent signing for Barca, despite the player's age of 32, as İlkay still remains a player of great quality. As for Man City, it's not like they're going to be concerned about losing Gündoğan, as the club of such stature will easily find and sign a proper replacement. David De Gea. After Cristiano Ronaldo left for Saudi Arabia, the one to be earning the highest salary in the Premier League is once again David De Gea, 23 million euros after tax. But if the Spaniard deserves it, that is a big question, which Man United will soon have to decide. Ten Hag claims that he's happy with his goalkeeper, but it might as well be just words, so De Gea's future at the club is still uncertain. It is rumored that United would rather sign a new keeper, while De Gea would like to stay at Old Trafford. That makes us think that the Red Devils would rather offer David a new contract, but with a much lower salary, as his current contract was signed when he was still among the world's best goalkeepers as well as Real Madrid's transfer target. But the times have changed since then, and we're yet to know how it all unfolds for De Gea and the club. Roberto Firmino. Firmino leaving Liverpool this summer is now out of question. The player said so, his agent said so, and even Jurgen Klopp admits that, though he finds the striker's decision surprising. Though Firmino had to spend the bigger part of the previous season on the bench, this season he has already scored 10 goals and made 5 assists in 28 games due to Mané's move to Bayern as well as other attackers' injuries. Apart from that, the Brazilian is 31 years old, which is probably too early to be moving to MLS, so we hope that we're yet to see Roberto playing for a decent European club, as that is something he's still capable of. Milan Skriniar. It's not the first time we hear rumors about Milan Skriniar leaving Inter. The Slovakian defender is one of the best centre-backs in Europe, so it's no wonder that many big clubs would love to sign him. The player would also be happy to change clubs, but the Inter board's demands have been the biggest obstacle. In summer 2022, they wanted about 90 million for Skriniar, while in winter they asked for only 20, but no offers came, even from PSG, who are believed to be the most interested side. So now it all looks like Milan will still join the Parisians this summer, but as a free agent. N'Golo Kanté. This season has been a nightmare for N'Golo Kanté. Back in August, he suffered a hamstring injury and hasn't played again for Chelsea since then, as he also had to miss the World Cup. Now the Frenchman is about to be fully fit at last, and the club is still determined to extend his contract, as Kanté would be happy to stay at Chelsea even though there was interest from Barcelona in winter. However, there's one thing that may decide everything. Should we take a look at the recent France Football article, we may discover the long and complicated story between the player and his agent. It claims that in 2017, someone pointed a gun to N'Golo Kanté's knee and made him sign a contract with an unknown agent. Since then, Kanté has been nothing but a source of income for this agent, and the player is rumored to be considering retirement so that he's done with this story. Though it's unlikely, this story doesn't sound good at all. Marco Asensio. We may still remember Asensio as one of the most promising players in Spain. Once he made a name for himself at Mallorca, he moved to Real Madrid, where he scored a number of memorable goals, but his inconsistency and constant injuries left him no chance to keep on with his improvement. Marco Asensio is now 27 years old. His contract with Real Madrid is expiring this summer, and the club has no intention to offer him a new one. So Marco has to relaunch his career while it is still possible. By the way, Barcelona, Real Madrid's biggest rival, is believed to be one of the Spaniards' options. So if you're a Real Madrid fan, please let us know what you think about this possible move. Sergio Ramos. The PSG spell had been a disaster for Sergio until recently. He was suffering one injury after another, which made a lot of fans think of Ramos as finished. But the 37-year-old veteran suddenly proved his doubters wrong with his newfound form that made him a first-choice centre-back ahead of the injured Kimpembe. But even so, we can't tell for sure if Ramos is going to stay at PSG for one more season or not, as the club could go with reducing their salary expenses. There's not much information at this point, so all we can do now is sit and watch how it unfolds. Ángel Di María. Though Di Maria's contract is ending this summer, his future is still far from certain. After a difficult start at Juventus, accompanied by injuries, the Argentine managed to discover his best form in Qatar as he scored in a World Cup final. Since then, Ángel has been on fire for Juventus as well, with 5 goals in the last 6 games. The midfielder would like to stay at Juventus, but the club's financial situation may not allow Juve to offer Di Maria a new contract, so we're yet to see what happens. Though Ángel said he would like to retire in Argentina, there's an interest from Inter Miami, while the 35-year-old midfielder is still more than fit to play in Europe. Sergio Busquets. Sergio Busquets is a unique player. At the age of 35, he remains a key figure for Barcelona, as he also made his impact for Spain in Qatar. There's no way you'll find a holding midfielder with such passing and game-reading skills on the transfer market. One who controls the tempo this well and possesses such experience. That is why Barca is so desperate to find his replacement. Igor Zubeldia from Real Sociedad is believed to be one of their options, but Sociedad want as much as 80 million euros for him, though Zubeldia still has a lot of work to do in order to reach the top level. As a result, the club is doing its best in order to persuade Busquets to stay for one more season and give Xavi more time to build his version of Barcelona. Luka Modric. There is an unspoken rule in Real Madrid. The club only offers one-year contracts to players over 30 years of age. So Luka has to prove himself worthy year after year in order to stay at the club. Despite a small dip in his form right after the World Cup, the 37-year-old Croatian is once again showing his best qualities, successfully convincing everyone at Madrid that he's far from finished. While Luka is about to stay, Toni Kroos may leave Real Madrid in case Jude Bellingham is signed. As for another veteran, Benzema, he signed a new contract back in February, so the Frenchman's future is out of question until summer 2024. Lionel Messi. Now to the biggest question. Where will Lionel Messi be playing next season? It is rumored that he's considering moving to MLS, while other sources claim that his father is currently negotiating with the Barcelona president Joan Laporta. As for Leo's own desire, it is believed that he would like to stay at PSG, though the salary may become an issue. Apart from that, there are other things that make this story complicated. Though PSG is a good option to stay for a Ballon d'Or contender, as it offers Champions League football, we're yet to know what will happen to the club in summer. Will Mbappe leave or stay? Will there be a new coach? All in all, there are too many factors Messi has to consider, as it's always important to make the right choice when you're approaching the final stages of your playing career.